Hi, everybody. It's Tina from Latin Biz today. And today I have guest Samantha Telfair on, and she's actually joining me from the West Coast. And she is a fashion connoisseur as well. So, really excited to have her on. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. We wanted to get a little bit of highlights on where we see fashion trends going for 2021. Because I think everybody sees that the world is changing and there's so much different stuff that the pandemic has brought to light in how we live our lives. So we wanted to talk about that, but we also want to talk about work-life balance because Sam is a mom as well. So she's been trying to balance her home and her life and her kids and mama, what do they call it? Mamapreneurship. So,
Yes, you got it.
so Sam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me,
Of
Tina.
course. So why don't you give our guests a little bit of a background about who you are, first of all, and what you do for business?
Okay, yes, Tina introduced me. I'm Samantha Telfair. I go by Sam. Samantha always makes me feel like I'm in trouble. Um, I'm a longtime stylist turned designer, and I just came out with my own line called The Merger, where I'm creative director, founder, designer, behind the scenes. I'm customer service. I'm PR. I'm everything to my brand, and I'm tired.
I can understand why. That's a little bit, it's a lot of everything, not just a little bit.
Yes.
So Sam, so you said you got started in the styling arena. So why don't you talk about how that happened and then how you transitioned it as well?
Okay, so I started doing wardrobe styling. It was one of those positions that kind of fell on my lap. I've always loved clothes and loved playing dress up, and it became one of those. It started as a fake it till you make it, where I was always dressed up, and someone said, hey, do you do this? Can you shop for me? Can you shop with me? And me, yeah, sure. And I'm a born and raised Bronx girl, New Yorker, so we learned how to we adapt to all our situations. And once I realized, I'm like, this is a thing. People get paid for this. When I was going shopping with, my girlfriends and with acquaintances, and as I was getting these compliments, I started to, I put a business perspective on that. And before you knew it, I was working with celebrities and doing red carpets and music videos. The power of referral is golden in God. And from there, it was a business that took on a life of its own. And then as I came into the new phase of my life, because what a lot of people don't realize about styling is it's a lot of work. People just think that you get celebrities dressed, but it's the pulling of the clothes, it's maintaining budgets, adhering to budgets, returns, making sure they're okay. And, for me, I've always been a one-woman team, even if I've hired out assistants, where I like to make sure it's not done right unless I'm overseeing it. So making sure that returns were made right, were made well, the accounts receivable and payable were all, everything, all the T's were crossed and I's were dotted. Look, I have COVID brain, I call it distance learning brain from being home with my
Foggy,
kids for so
foggy
long.
brain.
Yes. And then as I moved to LA, I was kind of thinking what would be the next step of what I wanted to do. And as much as I love playing with clothes, I noticed that I was always kind of taking them to tailors and chopping them up and redesigning and re-engineering the structure of clothes. So that became maybe I should do my own line. And then as I started developing my own line and coming up with designs, the merger was born. And and here we are now. I've done my first collection. I'm one collection in. I like to do collaborations. My brand is called The Merger because it's a collaborating brand, a brand based on community. So I'm my first community member that hopes to introduce more community members and help bring in more introduce more designers into the industry.
So you just mentioned that you're one season in. So how long did it take you before the season to kind of get everything rolling? Because I know there's a whole ramp up time before something actually launches in the industry. So what was that time frame?
Honestly, it took me way longer than expected. I thought that it would be an easy transition. You look at clothes and you're like, how hard could this be? I know what I want. The concept is there. And it took me a year of development. Maybe even a little over a year of development. I have 11 pieces in my first collection. and they all made it through final run, which is what took it so long. Most a lot of designers I spoke to with their samples, they ended up chucking half of their samples, and they didn't make the cut. And not only did I have 11 different designs, I had 3 variations of each designs, playing with fabrics, and everything I did I loved. And it was liberating and exhausting, because now I had to choose the best of the textiles that I picked, the best of fabrics for each design, and what actually told the story of what I saw. Because I will tell you this, I saw a lot of different stories within the year that I was making it. I thought, this color scheme and this mood seemed great when I was doing it. And then towards the end, the color scheme that I chose felt like who I was in that moment. So a little over a year, it took about like 6 months of just getting design right. And then another 6 months of actually, I tell you, sourcing, getting the right buttons and zippers and fabrics. And just when I thought I had what I wanted, I would go back to my pattern maker and he'd be like, oh, this design with this fabric or this wouldn't match. We've already done the sample, and this will have a whole different fit. And the learning process within that was also what took it some time. And I took my time with everything. I did not want to rush it. I wanted to make sure I love it. And I absolutely love it. It's getting great feedback. And here we are.
That's great. What are your thoughts on fast fashion versus putting a lot of thought and energy into your designs and making them something more seasonless that you'll own forever? Like where do you put kind of your value and your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are all over the place on it. I'm one of those people I want to say that I have this disdain for fast fashion. As being a luxury designer and being that I am in slow fashion, and I'm putting my heart and soul in these collections, and I'm watching a lot of these bigger brands steal designs and make them less expensive and just keep pouring out a machine. So for that aspect of it, for the design integrity part, I have some I want to turn my nose up a little. But then, as a consumer, I get the need for wanting to get something very quick at a less expensive price. So that's why I say I'm on the fence. I love going to Zara and just picking something up that's really easy and mindless. But I feel like where we're at now, and I hate to always mention COVID, but where I feel like it kind of putting a pause on everything kind of helped change everyone's perspective, and they're appreciating the things that they were taking for granted before. And so I'm happy that the world is slowed down, because now I feel like people are wanting to buy things that are going to last and go through the test of time. And that's where I'm at. I want stuff that you can take with you all season. A lot of my pieces are transitional, where the sleeves have zippers and they come off, and you can wear them for winter, you can wear them for spring, and day and night. That plays into the name that I had, the merger. I wanted them to merge into seasons, merge into your vibe and your mood. I have wide leg trousers that have snaps on them, so you can snap them up when you're wearing your sneakers, and you can unsnap them when you want to wear, your heels and you're out for date night. So that's where I'm at. I'm at where I understand the need for little pieces of fast fashion. I'm here for, but I'm all day long about let's add value to our wardrobe and our clothes, because who wants to keep buying the same thing over and over? I get more compliments on my older pieces and my more luxury than I do one wash, or you leave it in the closet too long and all of a sudden threads are coming out and it's stiff, colors off, and it's you don't appreciate what you have anymore. You're ready. I feel like fast fashion makes you want to buy the next piece right away, versus wearing your piece over and over and really testing your true fashion and your true style of how many different ways can I style this?
Exactly.
Where can it go with me?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.